So pleasant afternoon to each and everyone. I am Rezeile Estay, a member of Group 4, and we're going to tackle about the Filipino cultural heritage and other topics for analysis and discussions. So today, I am the second reporter, which we're going to tackle about the Filipino heritage, the making of a nation by Ronald S. Hennes. So first, we're going to know who is Father Francisco Ignacio Alcena. So Father Francisco Ignacio Alcena, he is a Spanish historian and a Jesuit missionary who served as parish priest in the Visayas for 37 years. So he spent most of the years of his life in the Visayas with the natives. So he referred to as my beloved Visayas. He died in Manila on January 30, 1674 at the age of 64. So his book was published in 1668 and it is all about Historia de las Islas y Indios de Visayas. So when speaking to a tattoo, it was necessary for one to cover his mouth with his hand or a leaf of the nahaw palm. So we already familiar with nahaw palm. So the purpose of this is para dili maabot ay dili bitaw makuan ang sa imo sa laywa sa imong dato or sa imong anahaw or sa imong among. So for example of this is kanang makita nato sa mga movies, diba? Kay some of the maids is magamit sila og paypay to cover their mouth when they speak to their king or queens. So certain prerogative accompanied the dato's status in building a house for him. So they left a large room para dito sila mag-fest, mag-ilahang drinking bouts, dances, o mag-entertain og mga guests. So all of which took place only in the house of the dato and not in any other. So para dito siya sa dato. Even though like relative ka sa dato, you are not allowed to use it if dili ikaw ang dato. So the dato had first choice among the women captured in their raids. All the female captivates who catch the eye of the dato, Alcena observed, remained in his power for this purpose, the rest being divided among those who accompanied him in his attacks and sieges. So, one way a dato could enhance his prestige was by throwing lavish fest and mag-cause, and di ba kapag magkon ka og lavish fest, is mabiyan siyang mag-cause o daghan nga guests. Another way to accomplish the same end was to invite many men to help in the planting of rice and giving them food and drinks. So a person who found giving feast is called maugay. So kanang taong magkuano fiesta is mao na siyang gitawag nila kung maugay. So during this time, Alcena saw individuals lose their entire fortune through lavish entertaining. So this tendency resulted in persons going from one village to another without need of carrying anything or spending money. Visitors were content with whatever was given them in the way of food and drinks. So as I was saying, ang katuntang maghatag og fest is mao siya gitawag og maugay. So di ba kay pag naay festa is ang mga mag-istay is dili sila magdala o dili sila maghatag o magdala o gifts sa ilang pamistahan, which is ang ilang pamistahan mao ang maghatag sa ila og gift or like maghatag sa ilang kanang pagkaon para dalhin nila sa ilang pag-uli sa balay, dili ang pamistahan. So di ba when mag-throw og lavish na fest o mag-ang ka mga fiesta is kailangan nimo i-enter mo mga mga visitors. So they would get bored. The second order of nobility of those born free and often the close relatives of the dato was called tuma. So, ang close relatives sa mga dato is magitawag og tuma. So, kaniya is, ang ilang mga anak is gi-referred siya as sandig sin dato or support of the chief. So, mula gi-discuss ni Alzena kung unsay lahang position sa hierarchy and associated behavior. So, ang third rank is mentioned, the offspring of dato, father and concubine mother who were classed with timawas. So, again, wala siya gi-mention is made of the behavior proper to them. So, naay duha ka stratum. First stratum is the higher stratum and the second is the lowest stratum. So, ang higher stratum, mao ni siya gitawag og mga timawa. An indication of the relative status recognition can be derived from the expression commonly used by them at that time, or gitawag sila as sakip, ako ni Kwan, or I am subjected, and of so and so. So, the second is the lowest stratum. So, ang lowest stratum is mo siya ang Bisaya societies naging composed of slaves who were captured in war or sa ambush. Then, the usual manner for Bisayan to treat their slaves was and is, although not so much among same of equality among themselves, and so the slave eat the same, dress, and sleep like his master at Florinon, except the greatest ships who ate first and slaved afterwards. He wrote. For example of this is kana sa mga OFW. Di ba kaya ilang amo is, yes, they dress the same, they dress, they sleep, they eat. But the difference of this is, ang una mo kaon is ilahang amo kesa sa mga OFW nga afterwards ang kaon sa ilang after kaon sa ilahang amo and sir na mukaon ang mga OFW maids or slaves. So next is ana si Alzena nga ang mga Bisaya daw is request labor of the slaves rather than to demand it. So naay two deviations from their behavior were observed. So first is the status difference was relaxed during drinking bus. Relax na ay two deviation is the first is kana relax lang ang pag-unom, then ang second is kanang hubog na. So a Bisayan was liable to lose his respect towards superiors and tended to forget his place in the hierarchy. So Alzena claims that an Indio becomes drunk in order to, with more courage and less fear, that which being in his right senses, he would not know how or dare to do. In other words, he could use his being drunk as an excuse. So ang kalang second is kanang ikahubog na. For example, if this is kay bali mag-inom mo sa mga coworkers with your boss. Di ba kay pag mag-inom na is mawadan sa wisyo hubog na napalabihan na. Di ba kay sa to ang mga Indio or sa mga Indio is di ba kay mga palabihan na is wala na kabaloo kinsa ang makalimot na bitaw sa iyang place bali sa purpose, makalimot na siya sa iyang position like asa siya sa taman or makalimot siya sa iyang limit. So sa kung magod ka kanang di ba as we all observe kanang pag makainom ang isang tao ito niya ma-express iyang emotions, iyang feelings sa katao sa kanang tao. For example is katong sa among sa kuya like my brother is drunk already, so nakakuan siya dito siya courage siya parang ay istoryahan ako like suon ani ana. So like iyaming gitawag tapos giisa mi niya sa sala. So so nakainom lang ko kuya is dito niya express iyang feelings, iyang thoughts sa amuan, iyang gusto bito niya ipaabot sa amo ang dili niya kaya iingon kanang dili pa siya hubog. But sa me and my sister, we called it gay. Kay ngano daw sa amo ni kanang matawag na ko siya nga bayon kay ano dili man niya ma-express iyang kaugalingon kung dili siya mahubog. Ngano express man niya kung hubog na siya. Di ba kay kung biya like most of the drunks is kanang pag mahuwasan na sila kay uban hubog ba kay pag mahuwasan na sila is di ba ka malimtan nila yung buhat during sa kanang makainom sila. So mura gapon og useless, di ba? Malimtan naman gapon nila. So yes, and they use it as excuse. Di ba po kay some pud biya sa kanang ibali ganun na mga like nakay kalagutan na nga tao niya nakainom niyo siya. So damoy ka nang palagbikil nga mahita po like kanang about sa luti kay bali about sa luti tapos nakainom niyo siya karon then wala mo nagkasinabot. So magkalina siya o kanang kay bali for example like makakakos siya o crime then pag mahuwasan na tong suspect like kanto mo kaway is namatay ko yung kaaway kibali namatay ko yung kaaway tapos kibali ikaw ang suspect tapos ang imahal kung innocence as a suspect is hubugra ka ato which is dili siya dapat kay kung nakay kalagit sa isa ka tao you should talk to him or her instead of killing him or her. So next is Prestices were called babaylan or babaylan by other chronicles and katuuran, who belonged to a higher than the former. Both were very much respected and venerated. The tambalan or herbolario in modern Tagalog was also respected by the people, and whenever he entered the house, no one in the households were permitted to work for the rest of the day. A similar restraint from work followed the business of the town's smith. So, ang babaylan is really familiar with this, di ba? Babaylan or herbolario. For example, if this is kanang herbolario in modern Tagalog. So, for example, if this is like wala ka kabalo, like lain mong kamati, like something happened, kaya makita na ito sa Facebook, sa social media, sa TV, like something bitaw sa mga lawas na dili mo masabtan. So, for example, so you decided to go to a babaylan or herbolario to figure out kung unsay bitaw ka na nahitabo sa imuha. Tapos, di ba sa ka na makita na to sa TV or sa media is ka na magkuhan sila like inside the basin is magbutang sila of water ba or holy water like kanang clear siya nga water gali. So kuan din ila bitong tuluan o kandila mo nagsigaw din dito nila like na siya ma-form dito like for example like, na nila kagusto sa mga madiliin na to like dito siya ma-form siya kung sa like kasi bitaw cause anong imong pamati sa mga lawas ingana siya siya ang baylana or babaylan or herbolario in modern Tagalog. So next is a person held in high esteem was the atubang sa dato or February counselor. He was chosen by the doctor from among males of his class for advice on all matters and acted as his representative in dealing with others. Such a warrior was allowed to wear a pinayusan and decorative reed clock of woven abaca or hemp. An additional distinction was the increased length of his podong or headcloth and extra turns to lens cloth or bahag So we're already familiar with the bahag it's kana bitong suoton na siya sa lower, kana bitong front lang and back to cover your heart area kana sa mga lalaki. Tapos magbutang na siya ladder yung red cloth or extra magbutang na sila og red cloth of woven abaka or hemp, pero wala naman gapo na siya kana pang na tela. So kani siya is kani atubang sa dato or fervor counselor, kay bali wala din ang dato, like na siya something important na kanang appointment or kana na siya something na buhaton. So like ikabito mo bitaw ni siya ang represent as kana itong mura siya right hand sa dato. Next is the teacher or Tabgaw was also esteemed by the community. Like the Hindu guru, he went about instructing the young and the unlearned in their houses, in matters of moral behavior. He told them what they had to do so as good and what to do as evil. This was usually hereditary because fathers instructed their children so that they could follow in their profession. So for example of this is kana bitong ibali natin yung example sa mama sa isa ka panimala, like your mother. So your mother, di ba kayo yung mama or yung parents ang maghatag o ka ng ang mag-instruct sa inyo kung sa'yo dapat buhaton ay ganay buhata kay buhata ka mali ni kanina buhata ana bitong ka na kung sa'yo dapat ka ng do so as good and like mag-avoid ka sa evil. Kaya mo bitaw sila ng first teacher, like kanang tuduan ko nila unsay maayo unsay dili maayo. Mo na siya ang teacher o para Tabgaw. So the next topic is about an excerpt from Antonio Pigapita's first voyage around the world, 1519 to 1522. They gone about naked except for a piece of cloth woven from the barks of a tree wound round the loins. Though some of the ships were cotton cloth embroidered at the edge of the silken needlework. This was a ship the old man who was pointed or tattooed and who wore 2 gold earrings, others had gold armlet and scarves around their head. So sa first voyage around the world ni Antonio Pigapita's is bitaw siya, like sila like naka-cover sila tanan except sa kanang woven cloth woven gikan sa 3 gikan siya sa 3. So kanang bitaw nang gikon kanang bahag lang sa 4 boys is bahag like kanang sa private area lang bitaw sa front and sa back. While ang sa girls is kanang more siya should like katong tinigan ito kanang bitaw itabon lang diri then more siya sayal pero mugo siya. Then na sila yung mga tattoo and they were like magsuot sila of gold armlets and nasa life scarves around their head. Naput sila na ibutang diri adol. Some of them is sila yung mga tattoo. So expert from Antonio D. Morga's successos de las Islas Filipinas and the natives of Cebu and the surrounding islands. So who is Antonio D. Morga? So he was a Spanish lawyer and a high-ranking Spanish official of the 3 years in the Philippines, New Spain and Peru. Aside from being a lawyer, he was also a historian. So nashi book na Successos de las Islas Filipinas nga gi-publish sa Mexico adtong 1609 rather. So the history of the Philippine Islands is considered as one of the most important books written in the Spanish colonization sa Philippines in 16th century. So, ang book is nag-describe siya sa archipelago, sa climate o sa mga tao. So, namatay si Antonio D. Morga at on July 31, 1636 at the age of 77. So, it was known as Visayas Tattooed Ones for the reason that the most important male residents here have since their childhood decorated their entire bodies by painting their skins. The young and the old ordinarily bathe their entire bodies in the rivers and streams without regardless whether this may be injurious to their health. So, sa Visayas or the tattooed ones are known as sa Visayas is na sila kanabito even though bata pa or since bata pa ka is dapat na nanay tato ilahang entire body. So ang ilahang even though bata pa ka or tiguwang na pa, so dito sila maligo sa river and streams even though wala sila kabalo kanang makasakit siya sa inyong lawas or makaayo ba siya sa inyong lawas or dili. So even though wala sila kabalungan dito agad sila dito. So next is their weapons consist of long knives and a short and curved ones with a single-edged ones, spears, and they use whistles and sea craft similar to those used by the natives of Luzon and are engaged in the same occupations and raise the same fruits and have the same industries as in all the other islands. So na sila weapons which is nag-consist of taas na kutsilyo na curve, like naka-curve dito siya kung makita nato siya sa kutsilyo din sharp ang iyahang tumoy. So as it is stated here, nagamit sila og whistles og sea crabs na kapulihas o gihapon sa mga nakapuyo sa Luzon. Og nag-engage po sila og same mga trabaho o mga occupations. For example sa Luzon is sila. For example, it's all about farming sa Luzon. So ang ilaha po sa dili po sa Visayas is nagkuan po sila o kanang farming po gapon lahat. Naka-statement here na and are engaged in the same occupations. Kung nag-raise po sila og same fruits, kung unsa ang fruits na ang sa Luzon mo po na sa Visayas. And that's all for my part. Thank you. So again, a pleasant afternoon to each and every one of you. I am Rezeile Estay from BE1G and the 25th reporter of Group 4. So today, I'm going to tackle about the statement of President Elpidio Quirino on the report of the Bell Economic Survey Commission on October 28, 1950. So it stated there by President Elpidio Quirino that he is highly gratified to have received today from President Truman the report of the Bell Economic Survey Commission and do find that it is highly constructed statement of conditions prevailing in the Philippines as found by the Commission during its visit and stay in our country. I am sincerely grateful to President Truman as well as to Mr. Bell and members of his staff for the earnest and thorough effort they are exerting to assist our government in its many grave problems. So, it also stated there that he is requested the survey precisely so that we may be able to understand the problems confronting us and find appropriate means of solving them. So, whatever criticisms the report contains, I know they were made in the best faith and with the desire to be helpful to us. I share in President Truman's suggestions that the full text of the report be made public because I want our people to learn the expert view of the difficult conditions confronting us as well as the remedies by which they may be improved. I shall seek consultation with the members of the Congress and other leaders of the government for the most careful consideration of the recommendations before discussing them with the representative of the United States government. I hope that an agreement will be reached in due time to assure our people security and continue progress. So, stated in the statement of President Elpidio Carino para sa report sa Bell Economic Survey Commission is nag-request sila og survey like para bito mahibalan nato unsay cost sa problems na nag-confronting us. Like makapangita ta mapangita na to understand the problem and the cost and makapangita ta appropriate like kanang unsaon na to pagsolba sa isa ka para daw unsaon mosolba ng isa ka problema. So next is I hope that the agreement will be reached in due time to assure that our people's security and continue progress. And that's all from my part, and thank you. So again, a pleasant afternoon to each and every one of you. I am Estay from PE1G, and I am the 35th reporter of Group 4, and I'm going to discuss the federalization the Republic. First is the Udtong Matalam of Cotabato. So not so, for an early years as a lawyer, I saw the eruption of another Moro rebellion in Mindanao. This time, the armed rising was led by Datu Udtong Matsalam. I was anchored mainly in his grievance that the Moros of Mindanao and consequently Mindanao itself were discriminated against by Imperial Manila. So Udtong Matalam of Cotabato. So it's stated there like it is like nakita nilang nakakita silang another Moro rebellion sa Mindanao. So it was led by Dato Udtong Matalam. He is at Dato. So it was mainly as a grievance of the Moros of Mindanao and consequently Mindanao itself. So discriminate siya against sa Imperial Manila. Next is the Misware of Sulu. The government tried to use force to suppress the MNLF uprising, but it did not work. So it was only after the MNLF war had killed more than 10,000 people and apprehended more than 200 people in the areas of complex of the government that the government realized that we should took things over, not shoot it out with the MNLF to bring peace to Central. So ang government is nag-try bito sila o gamit of force para sa MNLF uprising pero wala siya nag-work. So after sa MNLF war daghay namatay almost 10,000 person and more than 200 people sa kadtong conflict na area. Then dito na din na-realize sa mga government na dapat istoryahan instead of kanang bitong maghimo og magkuan og war para sa mga MNLF para maghatag og kanang peace sa Central Maswari of Sulu. So, Maswari of Sulu sa Southern Mindanao. So the government then resorted to diplomacy and the guide to bring the MNLF to negotiating table. Maswari told me some days ago that he is probably the only real leader in the world who had signed 3 peace agreements with the very government he had been fighting against. So Maswari is from Sulu. Now, whether or not Maswari is correct in his apprehension about the integrity of the Jakarta Peace Agreement is one thing. At least for the moment, the Jakarta Peace Agreement holds it, even if probably a little tenuously. So, ang Maswari of Sulu is it came from Sulu. So, nakig-negotiate ang mga government sa MNLF. So, niano na si Maswari days ago nga siya daw ang only real leader na nagpirma og peace agreements sa government. Na iyang ligya bitong ipaglaban paghayo. Now, whether or not Maswari is correct in his apprehension about the integrity of the Jakarta Peace Agreement is one thing. So, karon daw ang moment is ang Jakarta is na peace agreements like nag-hold siya, even if like probably a little tenuously. So, last is the guns sprawling violence. The applicability of the government peace agreement with the MNLF, notwithstanding the guns of rebellion in southern and central Mindanao, has not been silenced and are sprawling violence, as the current situation shows. Eschewing sound analysis, the government has compounded the problems by lumping the Bsba and MNLF together as they are one and the same gang of cutthroats, and by deciding the meeting their challenges by a single approach, the use of an all-out superior force to fight their uprisings. So, the guns sprawling violence like an applicability of the government peace agreement with the MNLF. So, ang mga guns daw sa rebellion sa southern o central Mindanao is wala daw siya na hilaw, and they are sprawling violence sa current situation. So, ang government is like nakakumpawin sa problem sa mga Bsba o sa MNLF kaya nag-isa kaya they are one, like nag-isa bitaw sila ang naras na sa isa ka gang or group of people. So, the use of all-out superior force to fight their uprisings. So, in order to like dili na bitong dili na managhan ang mga members sa Bsba or sa MNLF gang is they have to like kill the member of the Bsba or the MNLF gang, or kailangan nila like takpon dito ang mga nag-violent naglabag sa about sa guns, or nagkuan siya sa kailangan nila